So Corin and I had been doing some projects together for about a year or so. We'd have our podcast, and we're in college and we're kind of nearing the end of it. And as we've taken more classes and used more gear, we decided we kind of just wanted to do something on our own. At first, it was just totally an outside of school thing.
Basically, I found out that I needed I had one more class that I could take just to open whatever I wanted, and I wasn't gonna have any shooting classes. And a light bulb went off in my head. And immediately I thought I'd like to do something with Ryan. So I told him about the idea, and we started meeting a couple times a week, just discussing what we'd like to do with a study, different story ideas. It came from a bunch of different places, because Ryan is a big fan of Oliver Stone, and he just really cares a lot about the impact a film can have on an audience and on culture.
As far as the idea was concerned, we really wanted to do something that was unique from a lot of other student films, not just in the length of it, but more specifically, the characters and the subject matter.
Chapman Speaks is about this sort of near future fascist takeover of America, and you have this character, Chester Chapman, who is this kind of online news host who kind of had a big hand in radicalizing a bunch of people to bring these fascists to power. And he then has to come to terms with this regime he's created, and he starts to realize that he may have screwed himself over as well, and also realize the implications of what he's done to the country and to potentially the world.
What I respect in films are films that are trying to say something or make a difference. Documentaries can do that, and sometimes documentaries are better at it, but sometimes narrative filmmaking is the best way to do it. And a lot of people make short films. We could have made a short film that was a simple concept, a dumbed down concept that was easy to pull off, but instead we strive for something that's a little bigger, because it just gives you more passion in the work as well. If we have the story that's about political issues, that it's important for everybody to discuss these issues, it's also just going to make us and our crew more passionate about the project. And I like our art having a purpose in that way.
I've almost had this macabre fascination with American fascism since kind of 2016. You can decide for yourself what event in 2016 kind of inspired that. And just a lot of events in the world made me really think about that kind of power and what that kind of ideology, what it can do to our culture and where it could come from. And Ryan is just very fascinated with the power that media has. So this idea was very much created through synthesis. We both brought a lot to it.
It actually took us a long time to come up with the idea, because we both had different things we wanted coming into it. I wanted this, he wanted this. So we tried our best to kind of combine it into something. And so the idea came about through weeks of meeting and discussing ideas. And we finally settled on this one. And it's kind of funny looking back how, we start with a million different ideas, and it all kind of funnels into this one specific thing, and that's where we are. And it's the creative process, it kind of amazes me every time I do it. And after that, we started doing everything from character biographies to treatments to scene breakdowns, and we made some graphics for things. And one of the big things to do was mood boards. That's something that Corbin is really interested in. He was headstrong on that. It was such a good idea, because it sort of allowed us to really think about the influences on the story, and that's probably the best thing that we've done in this pre-production that I haven't done in other things I've done, because it really gives me sort of a more of an abstract idea of what we're trying to do that's not necessarily from other films, which I really like that.
My favorite part of filmmaking that I've discovered is really lighting and cinematography. It's what I get passionate about. It's what I think about the most. And I'm really hoping that this gives me an opportunity to just really experiment and create a really good looking movie. Not just that looks good on its own merits, but really just visually tells a story, the story that we're trying to tell here. I also do like writing a lot. I've always liked writing. I'm not the best script writer, or screenwriter, I should say. So I'm kind of contributing more of feedback and thinking kind of macro level, what like scenes we can tell, whereas Ryan definitely is more of the seasoned screenwriter here because he's actually written some screenplays before and he really likes the workflow of that. But I'm also trying to make sure that, you know, I contribute quite a bit to the writing process of this movie.
I'm really looking forward to sort of just the whole process. I mean, the reason we want to do this is obviously to have a finished product and to, you know, make a name for ourselves, but just doing an entire production like this in every stage and doing it all the right way. And I think the best thing is going to be kind of seeing these characters come to life because we've written about them, we've discussed them, we have the ideas, we have all this work beforehand, but ultimately when we're on set and we're on the locations with the actors, with the crew, we're lighting it, we're filming it, we're seeing it in the monitors, and we finally see it in editing. It's going to be so exciting to actually see it start to come together. So that's kind of what I'm most excited about, is seeing how well the entire crew, including the actors, can bring this to life.
The thing with this project that kind of keeps me up at night, aside from just the entire scope of this, is really scheduling actors. Because this is a character-driven story, it's a narrative, it relies so heavily on a good performance or several good performances. It's going to be, it potentially could be very difficult finding good, confident actors and making sure we can schedule them together and actually film this with enough time to get everything we need. It's going to be a lot of work and it's going to rely on a lot of luck and a lot of communication. It's nothing I'm really like too terrified of, but it's definitely a bit intimidating.
I mean, there's always a chance that it doesn't come out the way we want it. In video, I have this kind of principle that I work off of where everything's like 70% as good as you think it's going to be. So if you have this idea, it's really awesome, you film it, you edit it, you're like, that was pretty good, it was pretty much what I thought, but there's always like a little bit of room for error. I'm hoping that in this project we can eliminate some of that because nothing's going to be perfect, nothing's going to be exactly like you imagine, but putting a lot of our pre-production, putting a lot of work into our pre-production, I hope will kind of alleviate some of that. But there is always the fear of, you know, we're also students and we're working with people that, you know, we might not be able to pay them a lot of money. We're going to ask a lot of people to volunteer. Some things might fall through the cracks. We're probably going to have to do reshoots. These things always happen in filmmaking. So in terms of fears, I'm not necessarily afraid of them, but I think setbacks are just something to expect. All right, so I'm just gonna write down the fucking steps that I had written down earlier. Today was our first official meeting for pre-production. I know that we have Wednesdays and Saturdays off, so I made that as like a placeholder, potential shoot days, and I just kind of did that.
It was just a good way to contextualize what we're actually working with here and like actual setting goals and deadlines, because honestly, there isn't really anything in this production that we can't do. But let's tentatively say we're going to do auditions February 4th.
So that's fine. So yeah, we need to find a lead. We need to schedule an audition. I'm thinking, I mean, for like where we can do it, I mean, we can probably just do it in the fucking TV studio. You know, we're in a kind of a tight spot because we don't have a lead. So at this point, we're kind of just laying out all the steps that we need to go through. Okay, we finished the script, we register that shit. We can kind of do these at the same time. Because while we're getting actors and while we're doing the auditions, me and you need to just go through the script and what are the props that we need.
Our main enemy that we're working against here is our timeline, trying to accomplish at least all of the production and the pre-production within the span of a semester is going to be a lot.
A tiny cut scene that I came up with for some fictional war movie.
Rick Robinson.
Oh my god. I don't think he's too weaselly. He's too weaselly.
He's a little too weaselly. Oh man, this is we gotta put on, if this comes on a special features, we gotta put does not represent the
There's a lot of moving parts because there's a lot of things that we have to do like at the same time. Oh, I gotta do it again.
So it's very important for us to have these little meetings to contextualize what we're working with here.
So like get everyone together and say, hi, this is the project, like actually tell them about it and sort of tell them our timeline and show them what we're trying to accomplish so that people know what's happening. The earlier we do that, the better.
And, you know, like with projects like this, they're very, you know, complicated when you look at it, when you look at a script or something, but just breaking it down into simple steps makes it a lot more approachable. It's something that I really like doing because I'm a very obsessive person. Like if I'm like into something, I'm into it. And doing a project like this is great because I'm able to just make it my life for a couple months.
I think it went well. Certainly helped my mental health a lot because I've been stressing out about this a lot because I don't want to fail. Just kind of reminding me that this is a real thing we're doing.
Fire into your left. Perfect. And actually, one thing I know that we're rolling, but I don't know if I can do that. Actually, so when I have you say, fuck. See, I don't even remember my own lines anymore.
That's right.
You fought for your rights, Griffith. I was originally gonna have you like, you fought for your rights, but if you're kind of far away, you can just.
I can make it look very pathetic.
You can.
You fought for your rights, Griffith.
Yes.
That's my last.
Collapse, Dan. Good.
I'll win the war for you. I'll bring you back. Will.
3, 2, 1, action.
It ended up being like 54 pages.
Cut.
Just like, fuck it, let's just do a feature-length movie. And amazingly, it is happening.
This production has been kind of a miracle.
I need a little more light on Chapman's face.
So how's that?
I've been really prepared. You put a lot of work into pre-production.
Get shot H.
Max has been excellent. If it wasn't for him, we couldn't do this project.
I play Chester Chapman, lead news anchor for Chapman Speaks.
We didn't have many auditions, and he was one of the only ones we had, and he was just perfect for it.
I saw casting for it on Facebook. I came up to it, I got a flat tire and auditioned online instead. Yeah, so I didn't get to meet him until the first day of shooting. But
Making this movie would not be possible without the amount of help we've got from people. I love working with actors, I love working with a crew, I love setting something up, I love getting the final shot and playing with lights.
Max's head is gonna cook. That's how close I want it.
Corwin brings a different element than I do. He's really in his element when he's on set. It's fun to see how he directs and how he shoots things. I've actually learned a lot from him.
What has happened to this space? I don't feel in control anymore.
It's my passion, just being on set. And sometimes it's really, really stressful, but it's worth it in the end.
I mean, I remember myself at their age, I could never do what they're doing. As far as being able to guide actors in a way that's not instructing them on what to do, but just kind of giving them these really great boundaries. I've noticed both Corwin and Ryan, as they both direct.
Please!
So, when they walk away, there's gonna be like a beat. And Janice is gonna say, kind of yell, "Can we turn down the hair light?" So after they walk away, I just flip.
Ryan's one of the most dedicated people I've worked with ever in my entire life. Probably the single most dedicated, driven person I've ever met in his
We're
field.
centered with the dolly track.
Yeah, let's
To your right, Max. A little bit to the left, maybe. Or you tell me when the camera. I think the biggest thing that I've learned from this project is that, especially like in the film industry, you kind of just have to create your own destiny in a way. Can you hear me when I'm talking? Can you sit up straight? Can you sit up straight? Can you sit up straight? Can you sit up straight?
We've got levels.
And action.
I'm hoping that what we're doing with Chapman at this school inspires a lot of people, inspires a lot of freshmen, inspires sophomores, inspires people who eventually see it down the line, just to say, you can make a movie. If you want to be a filmmaker, just do it. It is a lot of work, and I'm not saying you should maybe do a feature film like what we're trying to do, but do something, because you're not going to get better at anything if you don't do it.
Cut.
I'm happy.